Yo, 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 what's going on, people? You know who it is. It's your boy Tay Wiz coming live and direct for the Man Cave as usual. For those subscribers out there that is not subscribed to the YouTube channel or my Twitter page, you can do the following when they come across the screen now. First and foremost, we're going to get right into it. College football standings is out. Ohio State, number 1, LSU. Number 2, 3 is Clemson. Number 4 is Georgia. Some people disagree that Georgia and Clemson should be in the Final Four. Clemson did what they had to do, even though everybody gonna say that the Big Ten competition is not it's not tough, but I can beg to differ. Big Ten football teams, they play in all type of terrain, weather and whatnot, cold, snow, whatever you want to name it, they play in it. Um, and you look at the physicality of these players play. I mean, yes, they're probably looking at what the SEC and ACC bring. Yeah, they bring some speedsters though. But if you're looking for longevity for a player, there's nothing wrong going with some Big Ten players, linemen, some receivers. They're durable. To me, they have a longer life in the NFL. Most Big Ten players, when they make it to the next level of their career, which is the NFL, a lot of them guys play almost 10 to 11 years plus. There's not a lot of SEC, ACC guys that play that longevity. They be big stars in college, but it's very often that most of them do carry on to the next level and be that profound big star like most of the Big Ten players have. If you look at the New Orleans Saints, they pretty much got 7 guys on their roster that play. That's from the Big Ten. That's from Ohio State. To be honest with you, it's a lot going on. But we can say that the conversation for another day. But we're going to talk about these rankings. Is Ohio State, can they pass the eye test? I think they did. They look like they're the most complete team in the country up to this point. They still got a game left on the schedule. It's the Big Ten Championship. They still got to play Wisconsin. We know they played Wisconsin a couple of weeks back. Can this team take it one game at a time and stop the running back from Wisconsin? He's a handful. They got Chase Young back. He's been back now for the last two games now. And speaking of Chase Young and the Ohio State Buckeyes, they got a nasty front. They bringing it. LSU, Joe Burrow number 2 with his team with the LSU Tigers. You're looking at where he is with Joe Burrow ranks. He ranks he's at the top of the crop when it comes to quarterbacks right now. He passed the eye test. He could be very well a first round or a first pick in the first round in the NFL. He could be high as a top 5 pick. He is a lottery pick, folks. Clemson. Trevor Lawrence, like he lost his step, he found it back once he got back into the conference play. I think Clemson, they are a ground and pound team as well with the running game they have down there. Georgia's the same too, but lately Jake Fromm been going to sleep, getting kind of lackadaisical with the ball when he has it. But say if Georgia don't get in, but they let Oklahoma in, Jalen Hurts. Me, personally, the Big 12 is like playing flag football. They miss a lot of tackles. Not in open field, but when they very close to each other. Baylor got a case. They're 11-1, coming off real strong lately. And you look at the Utah Utes, who's ranked at 5. Could they get it if they win their championship game? And, and there's a lot of teams that wish they could be up in the conversation for talk. Alabama fell from 4, or 3 rather, all the way down to 12. There's going to be some flip-flopping in this type of category for college football. This is where people make their money at with these teams. Now, we're going to switch it off from the standings, but I definitely do want to go into the Heisman talk. So when people pick their Heisman, you can easily go with Jalen Hurts. But I feel like my top 3, no typical order. No typical order. It's just the way I read it. You got Chase Young, a 6'5", defensive end, 265 pounds, 38 solo tackles, 16.5 sacks that lead the country, and 7 forced fumbles. It's almost like you got to put a double team on Chase Young if you want to stop him. But other guys in the Buckeye defensive corps will step up. And it can make you pay. Pete Warner. You looking at Jeff Okudah. They have a legit squad of defensive guys. But when you got a monster like him up front, a Chase Young, And the crazy thing about the Heisman Trophy voting, there are bias when it comes to defensive players. The last person I believe who won the Heisman trophies back in 1997, he goes by the name of Charles Woodson, who played for the Michigan Wolverines. We haven't seen a defensive back since then or any defensive player. I just feel like the voting is so strong on the running back and the quarterback. I mean, you do got receivers out there. You do got a couple of defensive backs. You do got some linebackers. There's other guys out there that have strong cases too as well to contribute to the Heisman Trophy. Like I said, you got Chase Young, 38 solo tackles, 16 and a half sacks, and 7 forced fumbles. No typical order. That's one of my guys that should be a candidate for the Heisman. Number 2 on my list would be Joe Burrow, the quarterback out of LSU, 4,366 yards in the air. That ranks second in the country. 44 touchdowns. That ranked second in the country. He's got 6 interceptions, which is tied for 32nd, which is not bad. The more touchdowns, when people throw that many touchdowns at a high rate, normally it'd be in double digits with interceptions. QBR rating is 93.4, which is third in the country. You're looking at him like this. He got 2 receivers, or there 2 stud receivers. Both guys is over 1,000 yards receiving. Both guys have more than 8 touchdowns. So you're looking at his case to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, solidify what he does on the field. You're talking about a guy who transferred from Ohio State, who played behind plethora of quarterbacks in his day. He felt like his time was up in Ohio State. He took his talents to LSU and got them boys in conversation talk. And he's making the people down in Louisiana looking real good right about now, especially the coaching staff. Joe Burrow's cool, calm, collective. When he's out there in the field, sitting around my guys, I call him Smoking Joe. Because he don't go for the deep bomb all the time. Everything is the short 5-yard pass, a 10-yard pass. He eats you up in small chunks of plays on the field. And not only that, you got a running back too that can actually catch the ball out the backfield. That's always a plus. And another reason he got him 44 touchdowns too. The running back actually blocks for him to give him more time in the pocket to observe the field a little bit more. That's another reason why he could be a candidate for the Heisman. And that, my last but not least, quarterback out of Ohio State, Justin Fields, 2,654 yards. That's ranked 51st in the country. 37 touchdowns. That ranks 3rd in the country. And he has 1 interception. That ranks 1st in the country. He has 1 INT with 37 touchdowns. These are video game numbers. And his quarterback rating is 93.7, which is 2nd. Now, I said you got 2 Buckeyes up there in the former Buckeye. And somebody said, hey, without you being biased, Dante, who would you pick to be the Heisman Trophy winner? I said Chase Young a little too bad, but if you narrow it down, probably between 2 guys, Chase Young and Joe Burrow. I believe Joe Burrow may go home with the Heisman Trophy winner as a Heisman Trophy winner. You're looking at the 4,366 yards. You can't argue that. The 44 touchdowns. You can't argue that. And like I said, 93.4 quarter QBR rating. You can't argue that, even though he's 3rd and Justin Fields is 2nd. If you look at these guys, pretty much neck to neck when it comes to touchdowns, interceptions, and QBR. Only thing that separates Joe Burrow from Justin Fields is the more yards that he have in the air. So Joe Burrow may walk home with the Heisman candidate, but anything can happen on that Saturday night when they present somebody that award. So moving right along from college football, we can go right into college basketball. College basketball this season has been fun to watch. You've seen teams like a Michigan Wolverines team, unranked, shoots all the way up to number 4. As they get up to number 4 ranked, they took a beating going against the Louisville Cardinals, which is the ACC and the Big Ten challenges going on. And the Big Ten so far look this year that they kind of stacked. And you look into college basketball standings, Louisville is ranked number 1. Number 2 is the Kansas Jayhawks. 3 is Maryland, the Terrapins. The Maryland Terrapins haven't been ranked this high since. Wow. to say what, Steve Francis and Steve Blake, or man, or Juan Dixon. Um, that team is long, lanky, and athletic. Can get down the floor. The Kansas Jayhawks has a big man in the middle, is a man amongst men. He's a dog. He's a pit. Get nasty under there for Kansas. Michigan is very long. You got I want to say Mo Wagner, little brother, another 7-footer they got there. You talk about a 6'11" power forward. Then you got another a 6'8", 6'9" small forward. Michigan is very long and athletic too, with the emergence of their head coach, Juwan Howard, who's bringing some of that Michigan flair back to the team back when he played with the Michigan Fab Five. Virginia gonna lose a step. They got blown out last night. I mean, their coach said he don't get caught up in the rankings, but if you don't get caught up in the rankings, why even mention it? That means you caught up in the rankings. You should try to send a message to your team, try to tell your team don't get caught up in the rankings, but you mentioned something about it, which means it's still early in the season. Some teams found their way. Some teams you're going to see at the top are going to fall to the bottom. Some teams you see at the bottom going to rise to the top. Ohio State is another surprise team. I'm from Ohio. And North Carolina Tar Heels is my favorite college basketball team. But when them two teams are playing, it's kind of hard to sit like who you going to root for. Of course, Ohio born and bred. Of course, I'm going to side with my Buckeyes. But the win looks good. You talk about another team that's undefeated. They haven't been undefeated like this. I want to say, wow, since Evan Turner was there. That's been a while. And the last time Ohio State knocked off two highly opponents, they said that team went on to win a national championship. So right now, Ohio State has a target on their back. What's his name? Chase Wesson. Man, Ohio State got something to prove out there. UNC, a big man went down there. They're going to be one of their big guys, a true freshman. You got Cole Anthony out there, young point guard. The one thing I'm going to say about North Carolina, this is my team, I can criticize them. They don't look the same. Cole Anthony runs pretty much, his offensive usage is 37 or 38%. That's a lot when you get no other production from other players or supporting cast from your team. This is going to be a tough season for the Tar Heels. Yes, they took 2 losses. They lost to Ohio State and they lost to Michigan, 2 Big Ten teams. How will they rebound from this? Roy Williams got his hands cut out. Kentucky's another team. You can't sleep on them. Calipari always come through when you don't think about them. That's another dangerous team. Mark Few got the Gonzaga Bulldogs rolling. Can they keep going? Mike Krzyzewski and the Duke Blue Devils is ranked number 10. It won't be long when Duke will be number 1. But in the college basketball season, been kind of weird this year because whoever team been number 1, almost every week a number 1 team has been ranked off, not ranked off, has been knocked off. When you look at those teams who's been knocked off, like a Duke, a Michigan State, a Kentucky, you could be beat on any given night. But the whole thing is, I always say, it's going to sound cliche. You cannot get caught up in schedule watching. Because when you look at this schedule, the other team looking at you like, man, we played Duke. Man, I don't know if we got a chance. Then you got Duke looking at this schedule. Oh, man, we play this team. So you can never put all your eggs in one basket and think you're going to come out marvelous. Because you're not always going to come out marvelous. Let's get it. So moving right along. So we did everything in the college football and college basketball. Let's talk about the NFL. So we got the New England Patriots, the Baltimore Ravens, the New Orleans Saints, the Seattle Seahawks, and the San Francisco 49ers. All these teams is at 10-2. When you look at across the board, which one of these teams are the best 10-2 team? How could you not like Tom Brady in New England, who plays in a crappy division but always put together a nice masterpiece at the end? You get to the Baltimore Ravens, myself included. I said Lamar Jackson probably need to work on the throw game. if he want to prevail and move on and succeed higher on this caliber level, and which he has doing. He's been playing like an MVP candidate too. Got Baltimore at 10-2. Not only he's beating you with his legs, he's beating you with his arms. So you look at that. The New Orleans Saints. Yes, Drew Brees is back from the thumb injury, but man, shout out to Teddy Bridgewater for making his team to be where they at when Drew Brees went down with the thumb injury. So you know, when you look at the New Orleans Saints, you gotta throw Teddy Bridgewater a bone too every now and then, because if it weren't for him, the Saints probably would be even 10-2. Man, the whole thing was one man go down, you know the phrase, next man up or next woman up. No disrespect to the women out there that play sports too, because y'all play sports as well. The Seahawks. Russell Wilson. He's everything what you want in a quarterback. Just like your boy. They call him Big Trust. Lamar Jackson. These guys are beating with their arm and their legs. They keep a team guessing on defense. As soon as you fall asleep on defense or somebody slip up and a player become open, he has options. We know he want to run, but he don't have to. A lot of these guys don't have to run first. Lamar Jackson is learning. We already know what Russell Wilson can do. Russell Wilson is a musician out there as well, getting the job done with his team at 10-2. You get the San Francisco 49ers, another team. Jimmy Gucci Garoppolo. That's all you can say. George Kittle, the tight end. Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver they got from the Denver Broncos. So you're looking at this team, but all these teams that we naming, let's be honest. New England, Baltimore, New Orleans, Seattle, San Francisco. Everybody want to give these QBs some love. Man, shout out to y'all defenses. If you look at these teams' defense, I think all 5 of these teams' defense are ranked in the top 10. Defense win championships. Those guys go unnoticed. San Francisco pretty much have their defense on first-round draft picks. They got the creme de la creme of the crop. These guys bring it. The Seahawks, the same way. These and the boom may be gone, but it's still some boom back there on their defense. New Orleans Saints still bring it. Cam Jordan, all them guys, they play hard. Baltimore Ravens, them guys play hard on defense. So what is not to like? You got New Orleans Patriots, same thing. Good coaches do not always have to rely on their offense. Good coaches rely on their defensive coordinators, their defensive guys. Big time players make big time plays in the NFL. 3 people I would say that have a legit shot for the MVP. I'm going to say these 2 are neck to neck. Russell Wilson at QB. I'm going to go number 2, Lamar Jackson. But number 3, what about Jimmy G in San Francisco? Balling. These guys are balling. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Why are we still in the NFL talking about what's going on? The Ron Rivera firing. I live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm about the way from Ohio. Riverboat Ron. I met the guy, man. Nice young, I ain't gonna say young man. Nice guy. Because I'm a young man. He's older than me. You know, respect your elders out there, kids. What's wrong with people nowadays? They don't respect their elders. A nice, well-spoken gentleman. But to fire him when you can still have a chance to make the playoffs, even though you're 5-7, you can still be a wild card team. I mean, you fired him. Why? They're gonna say they can't say it's the coach's fault because you can blame coaches on a lot of stuff. I can't say they wasn't a disciplined team. What you want in a coach is Ron Rivera. Yes, his quarterback went down, Cam Newton. Greg Olsen been in and out the lineup due to injuries. He may be playing on his last leg. But let's be honest. Everybody know who lives in Carolina. We never had a number one wide receiver for Cam Newton. Other than Steve Smith, and he played with Steve Smith probably about a season. But that was it. Cam Newton never really enjoyed a deep threat down the field. DJ Moore from Maryland, drop a lot of balls. Curtis Samuel, wide receiver out of Ohio State, drop a lot of balls. Who do they rely on the most? Christian McCaffrey is carrying the load since Cam Newton went down with the shoulder injury. Now he's having surgery on his foot. What the GM did, or the owner for the Panthers and Tepper, I would have kept Ron Rivera around till the season ended. The team loved him. It's not very so often that you hear teammates come out and praise their coaches when they get fired. They praised him. He had the locker room. He loved the players, and the players loved him back. I still do not understand the other fire. People was around here in Carolina drinking the Kyle Allen juice. I said it's just a matter of time till we have a hiccup down the road, and the hiccup was going to be once he have a bad game, Ron Rivera would be the scapegoat. We're talking about Kyle Allen, who wasn't drafted by the league, who was a walk-on who tried out for the team and who made the team. He still was learning the game of football at the professional level. The cut ties with Ron Rivera, man, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. At 5-7, he never had a losing season since he was here. So let that sink in. Who would be your next predecessor to replace him? We shall see. Moving right along. The NBA, folks. You look at these teams around the league. Like I said, I got NBA League Pass. If you don't have it, you need to subscribe to it, man. Must have. The playing field is pretty much equal. You don't know who's going to win on certain nights, who's going to lose. The challenge is there. The players look more hungrier. Like I said, the only thing I disagree with is load management. When I look at the NBA, and we talk about MVP conversation early. This might be the earliest that I think the NBA and myself has talked about MVP conversation. When I look at the MVP conversation, I'm looking at players like Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Milwaukee Bucks, 31 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 5 assists, 56% from the field, and also shooting 31% from the three-point line. Giannis Antetokounmpo, like I said, if he finds that jumper, he's going to be a problem. And he's doing all this without a 15-foot jumper. And he's finding other ways to score. And now he's trying to move his game to the outside and hit the three ball from the arc. And when he's hitting from the arc and he's driving to the hole and dunking the ball, that's a dangerous guy. Who's going to stop him? He's an unstoppable force. What a great nickname to have. The Freak. He's a freak of all nature out there on the court. Luka Doncic. Another guy. 30 points per game. 10 rebounds per game. 9 assists per game. You talk about a guy who's almost averaging a triple-double. Like I said, he's not the fastest or the quickest. The guy been a pro since he was 16 years old. He know what it takes. He's playing at his own speed like Kawhi Leonard. Him and Kawhi Leonard play at that same speed. You know what that speed is called? I got the ball. We playing my speed on my terms. We're going to use the clock up. We're going to get the best shot available. We're not gonna run on the court and play like the court is on fire. That's what I like about those two guys, especially Luka. Team guy, charisma, the next superstar. He's replacing Dirk right now by Dirk sitting out them games, by Dirk Nowitzki taking him under his wing. He's showing you what he has. Cool hand Luke. He's out here hitting James Harden moves on James Harden. He had James Harden scratching a couple of nights ago because Luka Doncic was hitting him with his own James Harden moves. Get this guy Luka Doncic for the next 3 to 4 years. He will be hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy. Trust and believe that. You can't go wrong with LeBron James. 25 points. He may be 2 points under his average in his career. 7 rebounds per game. But he has a career high right now in assists. He's averaging 10.1 assists per game. You're looking at what LeBron brings to the table. You know, he's been to what? They say 8 straight finals appearances. Won 3 out of the last 8, whatever, 6, whatever you want to call it. He knows what it takes to get the team over the hump, especially when it comes to certain guys. And he brings it every night. And like I said, if you had to pick one MVP, LeBron James got the Lakers rolling. Milwaukee Bucks is rolling. Luka Doncic is rolling. But let's talk about these dark horses MVPs that nobody want to get consideration to around the league. This is what I like right here. The dark horse MVP. Kemba Walker for the Boston Celtics. 21 points per game. That's a high. 4.7 rebounds. And he shoots 91% from the free throw line. That's a career high. 39% from the three-point line. That is a career high. You talk about Kemba Walker, who played here for the Charlotte Hornets and now with the Boston Celtics. You talk about a guy with a no-quit attitude and leave all his play on the floor and with the emotion. Kemba Walker, when he was here, wore his heart on the sleeve. He represented all the Charlotte people here in North Carolina. Going to the arena, watching some of the young guys that they got on the club is not too bad. But when no Kemba Walker in the lineup, it's kind of eerie. But other guys been stepping up to the plate trying to hold it down, like Devontae Graham. Then you got Terry Rozier coming over from Boston to the Hornets. And you looking at what Kemba brings to the table. He's a team guy. The one thing I like about Kemba Walker, he goes to Boston. Immediate upgrades. You go from Marvin Williams to Jaylen Brown. That's a good upgrade. You go from Michael Kidd-Gilchrist to Jason Tatum, a guy that can actually shoot the ball. You talk about Tatum who got one of these. LKG got one of these. I don't trust a shot like that. He's shooting from the hip, and it's weird. It's never going to go in. I thought that was a high wasted draft pick for the Charlotte Hornets with MKG. And they got a bad contract with him as well. It's a couple of bad contracts on that team they need to get rid of if they want to make any moves and going forward. Kemba Walker, man, is a dark horse MVP for the Boston Celtics. Another guy, Karl Anthony Towns. 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists per game. And he's shooting 42% from the three-point line. We talking about a big man who is stepping outside hitting threes. The big men are hitting threes. In case you missed it last night, Dwight Howard hit a 3, nothing but net. I'm just saying, Karl Anthony Towns, right now, him and the Timberwolves right now are sitting 7 in the West. And the West is fun to watch. Even the Phoenix Suns is in the AFC. But back to this dark horse MVP. There's a lot of guys out there. Like I said, Karl Anthony Towns is another guy. He's going to bring it. Jimmy Butler questioned their manhood. So this team is not ready to play on that next level. They a bunch of babies. Karl Anthony Towns took what Jimmy Butler said to heart and been playing with a chip on his shoulder. And so has your boy Andrew Wiggins, who's also averaging 20 points per game. So something triggered off in them guys' head and say, you know what? Maybe Jimmy Butler is right. Maybe we do step our game up to the next level if we want to be those guys. And so far, it's been working. Anthony Davis, another dark horse, 26 points per game, 9 rebounds, and he's another guy who's shooting 34% from the three-point line. Anthony Davis right now is probably still playing with a banged-up shoulder. Right now, he's playing with a no-quit attitude. And you talk about he's bringing it every night. The Lakers are fun to watch because they're so long too as well. Like I said, you got LeBron James out there, Kyle Kuzma, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee. And not to mention, Boogie Cousins should be coming back anytime soon, probably between now and February. So you're saying if they get all those guys together, that team could be a dangerous team going down the stretch in the playoffs. Those are my dark horses. But let's shout these guys out. Six man of the year award right now. Man, it's a two-headed race. I can't even name a third guy. The two-headed races, they put on the same team, man. They both play for the Clippers. Montrezl Harrell averaging 19 points per game with 8 rebounds. You talk about guys that's come off the benches and getting 20 with no problem. Then you got Lou Williams just following up with 21 points and 6 assists. You're talking about two guys come off the bench getting 40. Let that sink in. Most nights NBA teams around the league, benches cannot score 40. You talk about two guys come off the bench getting 20 and 20 with no problem. You talk about a Clippers bench that's almost averaging 60 points per game. You talk about a bench where they probably can start and probably can win some games in the league. This bench is giving Kawhi Leonard, a Paul George, a Patrick Beverly, a blow. They can sit down and rest 3 or 4 minutes and don't miss a beat and come in and finish you on the back end of the game. What is not to like about that? Coach of the year? Frank Vogel is in there. Doc Rivers is in there, Coach of the Year. But if you're gonna pick Coach of the Year, it's early. You can go with Flip Saunders, son. You can go with him early if they keep doing what they doing. You can go with Monty Williams in Phoenix if they keep doing what they doing. You can go with Rick Carlisle in Dallas. It's a couple of teams, but realistically, if I had to pick one, probably for Coach of the Year, if he keep it up and where they at 15-6, it's the Miami Heat coach, Eric Spoelstra. He go from ball boy to cameraman to head coach in the organization. You talk about a Heat lifer, not too bad without Wade County, and they still got Udonis Haslem on the roster. That's what I love. You look around the league, Udonis Haslem, Vince Carter. You got some veterans on the bench that's helping these young teams out. And it shows. Cam Reddish finally woke up out of his slump. 22 points last night. His career high. Vince Carter probably was talking to him. Young fella, wake up. Shoot the ball. A lot of these teams don't have a veteran. You look at some teams that have veterans now. They understanding the game. They understand the game. Then the game come to them. They're not shooting like the gym is on fire. And you looking at what it can be for Coach of the Year. There's a lot of Coach of the Year candidates out there. But you know who I am? Thank you for tuning in. If you're not hip, I wrote an article at fansided.com under reevaluating the MVP race in the NBA. That's the title of it. I'm contributing to the website. Please head over to what y'all think. For right now, I'm your boy Tay Wiz. Thank you for tuning in. You can check me out on Twitter and on YouTube under TAE_WIGGS. And until next time, folks, you know who it is. Peace.